Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are back in Enthusia Professional Racing. I'm going to be driving, at least at the start, the beautiful TommyKaira ZZ-S Coupe. Basically their first production vehicle. TommyKaira, prior to that, was a manufacturer, it's basically a tuning company for mostly Japanese cars, mostly like a lot of Nissans and stuff. If you look them up on the interwebs, you can find quite a few of their tuned vehicles out there. But the ZZ-S was one of their first original vehicles, being powered by a Nissan SR20 engine that was out of the Nissan Primera. Yes! Yeah, no, this car is a very cool car. Very lightweight, very nimble. It's basically, with it being a targa topped, super lightweight sports car, it's a Japanese Lotus Elise. Okay, I need to do a little bit of adjusting on the alignment. Car is very happy right now. I can make a few changes to that later on. Look at Dave, just watch the stream. Oh, thank you. That being said, do take care of yourselves first. The VODs, unless they get copyright claimed or anything like that, the VODs will always be here. I need to get in front of these guys. They are beginning to get a little bit annoying. Trying to get the hang of the vehicle. It is a very nippy, very twitchy, rear-wheel drive, mid-engine, lightweight sports car. Not a whole lot of downforce. Not a whole lot of mechanical grip as well. Just very lightweight. So it's going to be sliding its rear around quite a bit on some of these turns. But I'm starting to get the hang of it. There we go. Getting used to some of the more understeery cars earlier this week and everything. So switching to a very oversteery, very slidey mid-engine vehicle. Very interesting. After the creation of the ZZ-S, TommyKaira had attempted to create the ZZ2, and if you've, oh dear lord, and if you've ever played Gran Turismo 3 or Gran Turismo 4, you'll know that the ZZ2 was supposed to be basically like a much higher end supercar, producing around 500-ish horsepower, all-wheel drive, a much more powerful machine. That unfortunately never happened. It only remained in the concept stage. Shortly after that, TommyKaira kind of went under, and they were bought up by Autobacks. And Autobacks then tried to produce the basically a spiritual successor to the ZZ-S, the Garaya. We drove that previously on a different Enthusia stream. Again, being powered with a Nissan SR20 engine. But with a little bit more power this time, when it was only a closed cockpit going scissor door sports coupe instead of the a targa top lightweight sports car. But unfortunately, that never entered production. They did, however, create a racing version of the Garaya that was used in Japanese GT300 class racing for quite a few years. It had moderate success under the Urta team. And there's also a rare Gran Turismo called Gran Turismo Concept. Yes! It was sort of the, one could almost consider it like Gran Turismo 4 Prologue. Because it did feature quite a few of the concept cars that would later on be featured in Gran Turismo 4. Although, you did have one very unique, memeable car in Gran Turismo Concept. The Toyota Pod. And the Pod Race that you unlocked with it. Oh my gosh. I've never played Gran Turismo Concept. I do want to play Gran Turismo Concept sometime. There are ISO files kind of floating around the internet. And those are all very, probably, you know, very, oh gosh, slidey. Eurobeat incoming. Pretty much, this thing is sliding all around the place. I need to adjust the rear camber and both front and rear toe angles to get it a little bit less twitchy. But yeah, with Gran Turismo Concept, it was mostly just kind of like a tech demo, just to showcase sort of like the updated graphics, as well as a lot of like the concept cars and everything that would eventually be featured in Gran Turismo 4. It's definitely not like something you pay full price for. But it's still really cool. It's still a really cool piece of technology, and it has some very unique things to it. Oh boy, easy there, game. Absolutely slidey. Very slippery, very slidey car. Yeah, this is definitely going to require some slight modifications to the front and rear toe angle more than anything else. Like I'm not getting power oversteer, so I can probably increase the negative camber on the rear wheels without causing too much issue there. But I'm definitely getting a lot of like under braking and like mid corner oversteer with the car. The car just trying to snap away from me a little bit. Thankfully, the car itself is very nimble, very fast, so I can kind of correct it very quickly. But oh boy, it's it's a little bit tricky. Definitely, if I had a wheel, it'd be much more difficult than if I was using the controller. Because I basically have to be kind of sawing at the wheel, whereas with this, I can just kind of move my thumb real quickly. So you do get much more responsiveness with controllers than you do with wheel, but with wheel you get a lot more precision in your control. Yeah, this first race, we're not going to be getting a whole lot of upgrades for this car. What is that behind us? Is that the NSX behind us? Mid-engine car versus mid-engine car? What car am I using anyway? So this car right here, this is the TommyKaira, the ZZ-S. Super lightweight, super nimble. Basically the goal for the enthusiast streams is to level up every single car in the game to level 10, and also use that time while we're driving them to kind of talk about the cars a little bit. Give a little bit of history, whatever factual knowledge I know about those vehicles. It's mostly just an excuse for me to kind of just enjoy playing Enthusia. Oh, I see Carrera. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Porsche Carrera in a way where it's very, oh gosh, very fishtaily. That's the FCRX-7 behind us. Oh. That was the worst whiff I have ever done in my life. Losing it on the final straight. Okay. Ouch. Yeah. We're not gonna get a whole lot of points there. Or here. Our ranking's gonna... Okay, our ranking's been at least been maintained. That's good, that's good. So let's do a few settings adjustments here. Settings. Let's see. I want a little bit towards understeer here, and want a little bit more negative rear camber. There we go. That's gonna be a lot better. That's gonna be a little bit more, still responsive, but it's gonna be a lot more balanced compared to previously. Let's take it on the Pacific Challenge race. Fastest vehicle up against is the R33 Skyline. We should be able to take that down pretty quickly. Skyline does have a big advantage on the straights here. This is a bit more of a power course, with the first and the third sectors being very long straightaways with very steep hills. But as long as we can maintain speed to the middle twisty sector, we could probably keep them behind us without too much issue. This is also where I like tuning my vehicles towards acceleration as well. We can kind of get past a lot of the mess early on. There we go. Plus also very rarely do you ever reach top speed, with the exception of like 2 or 3 tracks in the game. Very rarely you're reaching top speed. Alright, easy here. Now for the twisty section. Trying to see how well those modifications, the suspension adjustments, see how well they worked. Definitely a lot better. Definitely a lot more controllable. Even over some of the bumps and everything that would normally destabilize a much lighter vehicle. Still a little on the twitchy side coming out of corner exits. But yeah. Also, welcome to the stream, Honorigi. Hope you're doing well. What are my thoughts on a new Forza Motorsport campaign going RPG? I think they're focusing on the wrong aspect of RPG, where like basically you need to kind of level grind. Like an RPG is not just level grinding for the sake of level grinding, right? Like getting, you know, leveling up your vehicle to get like, you know, discounts and stuff like that. That's one thing. That's old Forza. I like that old Forza. But this new one, basically just to get performance upgrades for, you know, a Ferrari. You need to drive a Ferrari, you know, a certain number of miles and win a certain number of races with a Ferrari. I'm not as big a fan with that, because then it's gonna kill the online multiplayer quite a bit. Because basically I have to constantly grind up, you know, every single type of vehicle. You're gonna need to just grind up upgrades for it in order to even be competitive with people online. A new vehicle comes out, oh, that's the new meta vehicle, then everyone's grinding that instead of actually playing the online. And it's, I don't think that's a good idea. I think what good car RPGs should be is more so you have a limited set of resources, and you kind of need to plan and, you know, think about what kind of vehicles you are going to buy, what kind of vehicles are going to be most useful to you throughout the campaign that really kind of use those vehicles as well. And the point is to have a campaign that then uses a good variety of vehicles and gives you the freedom to kind of pick your start point and your end point. In that regard, some of the best RPGs that I would put down as like a RPG would be the PS2 era of the Gran Turismo games. Maybe, probably even Gran Turismo 2 as well. Where it's basically, you have a whole bunch of different events designed around different vehicles, and it's your job to kind of figure out, well, what order do I want to tackle them in? Where, well, this event can give me this car, which I can then use for this event. And basically you create your own pathways. In that regards, it was, yeah, it's very, I don't necessarily like the new level grind for the sake of level grinding aspect of, you know, that some of these racing games had. I didn't like it in Gran Turismo 5 where you had to be a certain level just to purchase a car or enter an event. I definitely don't like it in Forza either. Was the old Forza Motorsport arcade, or are they trying to go full sim like Gran Turismo? So Forza Motorsport used to be kind of in the simcade realm, roughly around the same level as like the older Gran Turismo games, where it's not like, you could still play with a controller without immediately dying, but you definitely had to have a good working knowledge of what the vehicle is doing and why and how to correct that and how to be fast. It was definitely much more towards the sim-ish. It's about as sim as you could get on the older Xbox and Xbox 360 consoles. And Forza Horizon was kind of created as a means to kind of give people an arcade means of a more kind of arcadey, like free realm expression, you know, type of type of gameplay. And that was sort of, they were basically kind of used to kind of, you know, work together in a harmony, for lack of better words, where, you know, Forza Horizon, that's where you do the big jumps and everything, that's where, you know, you're doing the street racing and the, you know, all of that. And then Forza Motorsport's more so where you're racing, you know, LMP1s around, you know, the Circuit de la Sarthe or somewhere else. Have I tried playing mobile games? I don't really play mobile games that much. I just, oftentimes mobile games kind of fall into the same trap as kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier, where mobile games are a little bit, they're very greedy Mostly just there to kind of force to make microtransactions. And for me, I don't really play games on the go that much. So if I am going to be playing a game, I'd much rather just sit down and play like an actual console game or an actual PC game as opposed to a mobile game. Not saying that there's bad ones out there, but usually if I had to pick, I'd rather just play console or PC games. I knew that asked my DB and met David Brown. Yeah, that was in honor of the one of the someone who was really influential in the company's early history, kind of helping them get off the ground and everything. So it's kind of in honor of him. Just wish modern race games were more creative in terms of things like art style. In a way, yeah. I think, like I said, you definitely need to balance that. You need to make sure that the art style actually works, though. Like with Need for Speed Unbound, the art style doesn't work as well because it's basically just like 500 Instagram filters over top of a photorealistic setting. Whereas something like Wreckfest or something like Automotive, it fully commits to like that certain art style, which I quite like. Like if Need for Speed Unbound had went full like comic book / graffiti where everything is like that, I think that it would have been received a lot better, as opposed to just slapping on 20, 30 different effects every time your car do something. Oh, you hit a slight bump in the road? Let's make your car sprout wings. Oh, you use nitrous? Okay, time to make the screen flash 500 different colors. Like, it's just, in that regard, it's not as fun. Whereas, like, you don't notice it as much, all the crazy effects in, like, Automotive, because the entire game is in that art style, that sort of cel-shaded art style. And so with that, you do get a little bit more, it's more immersive. You're like, okay, this is part of the game world, which I quite like. Jeez, we really don't have anything to unlock right now. We've won most of the vehicles in the game. Yeah, oh gosh. But I definitely wish like more games had, you know, stuck with a dedicated and specific art style, because otherwise you do lose quite a bit when you're trying to appeal to everybody. You know, we basically, you're like, okay, we want to kind of have semi-photorealistic stuff. We want to have supercars, but we also want to have tuners, but we also want to have the graffiti thing. Let's throw in A$AP Rocky as well to try to like appeal to the masses. And when you do that, you end up appealing to nobody. I think when you develop a game, you definitely need to think about who you're making it for, why you're making it for, and what do you want the final product to actually be. And unfortunately, with a lot of AAA game developers, part of that is just with the sheer scope and size of development teams, it's much more difficult for there to be a single consistent theme and direction and art style going on with those games. Whereas with like the indie and the AA racing game scene, you have a much smaller team, so everyone is kind of on the same page as, hey, we want to make a game that's only about drifting. Let's only put in like drift cars and like places where people would enjoy drifting. Or hey, we're making a demolition derby game. Let's only put vehicles in that are used or in demolition derbies and everything. Mobile games are bad because of the good-looking mobile games and microtransactions. Yeah, no, I'm not. Like I said, I don't really do the mobile games. The mobile games definitely make it. It's mostly the microtransactions and the fact that playing with a controller or playing with a wheel or a keyboard is always going to be a little bit more intuitive and more enjoyable than the touchscreen interface. Because then I can actually look at a lot more than just what my hands are doing. Whereas with touchscreens, you kind of have to watch your fingers and everything, watch where you're placing them. Especially on much smaller screens. You don't really get the what's it called, the haptic feedback that you do with an actual button push, or with a joystick, or with an actual wheel and pedal assembly. Which is also why in real life cars and everything, I'd much rather have, you know, a semi-cluttered, you know, center console with buttons and everything, and actual switches and all of that stuff, you know, dials, you know, analog controls, as opposed to touchscreen interfaces. I really don't, I'm not a big fan of that in cars. The only good mobile games are just the console indie games. Yeah, a little bit. Like the Wreckfest and the mobile ports, and that was okay-ish. But overall, though, I'm not the biggest fan of mobile games. A lot of cool ideas, though, that could be then adapted into, you know, full-scale releases. Otherwise, I'm not the biggest fan of modern mobile games. Then again, I am also older. Like, you know, I'm you know, solidly in my mid to late 20s. So for me, cell phones have always more so been, you know, something for just communication and just, you know, getting work done. So I don't really have too many like non-communication apps on my phones. Combine that with previous job kind of being very strict with regards to what apps we could have on our devices, and even what devices we could have. It kind of led to a bit of culture of, well, phones just for people to text and call me and to occasionally browse Reddit or whatever. So I never really fully got into the mobile games that way either. So it's probably a little bit of like the cultural clash there. I'm sure for other people that kind of grew up more so with, you know, phones being seen as basically smaller computers in your pocket, that it's basically seen as a different sort of gaming device that, you know, you can play when you're away from home and everything to keep you entertained. But that's not necessarily how I grew up, or how the culture I was in as much. It also depends on the publisher. Yeah, and the developer as well, because, like I said, some companies are like, yeah, we just, you know, we'll have like an ad or something like that after, like, you know, every 20 minutes or so. But otherwise, yeah, this is free to play, or you pay $2. And then there's other companies that are like, hey, here are like 3 things you can do if you're a free member. Everything else you gotta buy space crystals to unlock. Oh, here's these giant crates full of space crystals. This one's $11.99. And it's just, nah. It's the freemium, what's known as the freemium games. Those are not fun. And I get it. I get that developers need to make money and everything. I do not envy their position. But if you're gonna be creating a game anyway, just create a full release as opposed to a mobile game, please. Like a lot of them have good ideas and could probably be converted into like a you know, into like a, you know, something that you do release on Steam for like, you know, $5 to $10 with just a little bit more effort, a little bit more work into them, and then you can get money that way from people that actually want to play that type of game. But I guess having the games as a service and the freemium type games as well makes it makes more money. So it's they'll get other. It's definitely for a market that's I'm not a part of then. Thankfully though, with the likes of Steam as well, I'm not going to be missing out on too much, because there's usually whatever is available for the mobile market, you can usually find something similar in the indie sphere as like an actual full-time release, or at least something semi-close. That was a tricky one. I gotta start braking. I gotta start braking a little bit earlier for some of those hairpin turns. This car does not have the best. Doesn't have the best brakes. It's lightweight. It's maneuverable. The brakes themselves are a little bit on the weaker side. The tires will definitely help out a little bit with that. Yeah, ranking number has gotten a little bit better. That's good. All right, let's try to take down some tougher races. It's gonna be difficult because this is one of the quicker vehicles in the game. We don't have a whole lot of options here with regards to things that'll give us a lot of points. We're kind of in what I call for Enthusia the performance uncanny valley. And that's basically any higher tier B class car or lower tier A class car, where basically they're faster than the vast majority of the vehicles in the game. So whenever you're doing an event, you're gonna be getting less points because most of the vehicles you're racing against are gonna be, at least on paper, slower than you. But then there are gonna be a few vehicles that are faster than you. But those vehicles are basically the supercars in the game. You know, your Ford GTs, your Bugatti EB110s, your Caterham super lightweights, all of those vehicles that basically, in order to be competitive against them, you basically need to be in another vehicle that's very similar to them. And that makes it very difficult to kind of maintain your ranking in some of these slower A-class cars. Ironically, it becomes easier to maintain ranking in a C-class car as opposed to a car like this, even if you have a lower win rate, because you're going up against much tougher competition, but competition that's still beatable with some, you know, snazzy driving, what have you. What's up, Isaac? Nothing much. How you doing today, Vic? How was finals? Or was it exams or was it finals that you were cramming for? Probably a mixture of both. How did that go? Ooh, a little bit squirrely there on corner exit. The car wants to kind of just get into like the ever so slight slide, and then as soon as you correct it, it wants to snap the exact opposite direction. Terrible low. Oh, ouch. Well, here's hoping that, you know, it went a lot better than you think it did. I've had tests where I'm like, oh gosh, I completely failed that, and I get it back and I got like, you know, a mid B, which is, you know, decent enough compared to, you know, what I thought going into it. And then there are other tests, so I'm like, oh yeah, that wasn't too bad. And you come back and you're like, oh, I got a mid C. Okay, what happened? It's actually 2 exams in the per semester. Oh, cool. Is this college courses, or is this like high school? I'm not sure what level of education this is. With 35, and 30. Okay, that definitely sounds closer to like college level courses then, with the assignments and everything. Still really cool though. I know back when I was in college, granted it's been, jeez, half a decade now, almost half a decade since I was last in college. I know finals week was absolutely, oh gosh, pain. I know college is very the finals week in college is very stressful. I lost a lot of sleep, and I would drive home. So it was a 6-hour drive home because my college is up in like northern Pennsylvania, and I live in like central-ish I live in somewhere in Maryland. It depends. It's hard to find a center of a state that looks like as much of a mess as Maryland does, but kind of, yeah. Sometimes do a PvP is good for the adrenaline rush. Yeah, I'm thinking next week do a little bit more of Wreckfest online mode. Kind of alternate Monday streams between Tokyo Extreme Racer and Wreckfest. because I did enjoy racing with other people online in Wreckfest, keeping the close, clean battles with them and everything. And I know I've been kind of training in the background a little bit for maybe eventually doing VGT as well, which is online racing championship in Circuito Competizione. Some subjects are a single assignment with 100%, some like 2 tests, 50-50. Oh my word. Now, in engineering, it's more so usually it's like one or two assignments worth about like 30%, and then the rest is exams that's worth, you know, the other 65 to 70%. But jeez, that is having just one assignment with 100% of your grade. That is terrifying. Oh gosh, stop being squirrely on corner exit there, car. Very twitchy there. Alright, come on, let's catch that skyline. I'm definitely underperforming the vehicle right now. I usually do a little bit better in the slightly more powerful, slightly heavier front-engine rear-wheel drive vehicles. Mid-engine cars in actual like sim games, like, you know, Circuito, like Enthusia, like Gran Turismo, I'm not as good at, because I usually prefer my vehicles to be not necessarily understeery, but a little bit more controllable in corner exits. I get on the throttle very, very early. Facing the skyline. Nissan engine versus Nissan engine. Very, very quick. Goes above a 70 straight pass, 30 to 69. I got to do a final test, which is the Brazilian version of finals. Oh, okay. Interesting. So that's kind of like that's I've never seen it done that way. That's new. Very cool though. All right, try to go around the outside, maybe. Now that skyline's got quite a bit of grip on corner exits. Got that four-wheel drive grip in the turbocharged RB engine. Inline 6 making a whole bunch of horsepower. Dive down the inside there. 200 horsepower versus roughly 300-ish horsepower. Totally, we got it. And the finals get averaged against your score. Interesting. It's definitely a very, very different way of doing things. Oh, you're gonna pass me? Oh, that was way too close. less than a tenth of a second. 400ths of a second was between us and the skyline. So if you get a 30, you gotta score at least a 7, and you get a 50 plus. Jeez, that's dreadful. I mean, I'm sure it works quite well in actual practice, but that definitely seems to make very, very, very stressful though. You gotta really be hoping that you do well in your finals and everything. Jeez. With us, it was basically. It wasn't necessarily averaged against each other. So basically, like, it was more so cumulative. It doesn't work. Oh, okay. All right, then that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. You know, with us, it was more so a like it was cumulative. So, for example, you know, if you had one, you know, with the project being 35% of your grade, you know, if you got like, you know, a 90% of that, you know, that'd be 32.5% is what you'd have, right? And then you'd add up, you know, the tests and everything. If the tests were, you know, like 65% of the grade, and you got 100% on that, then you get, you know, 65% added to your grade, so you end up with, you know, like a 37.5%, 97.5% overall, which is kind of how we, at least in my college, that's how we did it. Which is a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it definitely meant that, like, if you did well on your project, you had at least a guaranteed set of points. And then you can kind of really easily calculate. Yeah, definitely good luck on those exams and everything as well. That definitely sounds very stressful. But I do wish you the best of luck on that. But also it's very on the same token, if you do really poorly on the the actual project, the assignments, even if you did near perfectly on the the final exam, you could still only maybe get like a C or a B, like a low B, which is not great. And that's if you basically completely knock the exam out of the park. And with engineering exams, that ain't the case. You are guaranteed to get at least a couple of things wrong on an engineering exam. Like I have never gotten 100% on any engineering exam I ever did. I got close a couple of times, but there's always like one or two things like I forget, or something like that. It's tough. A lot of the STEM, not to knock any other like non-STEM fields and everything, but the STEM in college, that is very tough stuff. And then my younger sister, she just graduated, and she's an art major, and the sheer amount of workload for her project as well, like she had like 12 like full-size paintings to do. In like a single 2-month period, and sure it's a more subjective grade and everything, making something that looks nice, but the sheer amount of work you have to put into that, the sheer amount of time and effort, it's very time consuming. So it's not easy no matter what kind of major you pick. It's just it depends on. Do you want the high stress but very short kind of turnaround of most, with the exception of like the projects, just kind of studying for a test, or do you want sort of the long hours of actually doing a project for like a lot of like the fine arts majors and everything? Because it's not easy. Like I said, it's not easy no matter what you pick. But yeah, I definitely wish you the best of luck with that stuff. Just out of curiosity, if I may ask, what is very slidey, very wide there? What is your major? Oh gosh. Oh, the car is very slippery. And don't the big thing is just don't overthink it as well. Automotive Elise 2 has over 2,000 cars versus a lot of other big. And it's true, but also with a lot of that, it's pay, like it's basically all like DLC and stuff with Automotive Elise 2. Production. All right, you told me about that. Productions engineering. Yeah, that's really cool stuff though. Nice. So you know the struggle and everything. Yeah, and engineering in general, I tip my hat to you. It's very tricky stuff, but let me tell you though, it's rewarding. It is very rewarding when you when you complete it all and everything, and you get your first job and everything. Finally getting into like the actual, because you get to see like the direct effects of your work and everything, especially if you're working for like a smaller company. You get to see, whether you're on the design side or whether you're on the the production side and everything. You get to see the full effects in real time of your work, and it is super rewarding. It's super cool. So I definitely recommend, if people are looking, if you're looking for something, a field to get into, engineering is very enjoyable. It's tough, no doubt about that, but it is worth it. And it is very fun. Come on, easy out of the corner. There we go. Oh, the speed. Alright, let's try to make sure we don't kind of half over, half understeer on the long sweeper here. That's what I'm hoping for too. Like I said, I definitely wish you the best of luck. That's very, very, very cool. Woo. Very slidey on corner exits. This car is not very happy in the rain. Basically kind of half sliding it through every single corner, trying to make sure it doesn't just spin out on me. It's got no traction control, no electronic stability control. It is a pure driver's car. And that's what makes it fun though. Because basically, if it spins, it's because you're making a mistake. It's because you're being too aggressive on it. And it's got the mid-engine snap oversteer as well, where it kind of understeers if you're trying to be smooth. Automotive Elise. Oh yeah, Automotive Elise is a really good game. It was published by Capcom. I played it a while ago. I kind of want to dive back into that sometime. Just try out some of the more unique builds and everything. Try out some of the fun like engine swaps. But that's definitely a really cool racing game where it really kind of like it has a distinct and dedicated and memorable style. But it's fully committed. Like everything in the game is to that style, that sort of comic booky, cel shaded style, which is why it's a timeless design. It's like Wind Waker. Wind Waker again was like heavily stylized, but it fully committed to that style, which is why it's memorable. As much as people kind of rag on, you know, the yellow filters in Need for Speed Most Wanted, like it had a dedicated sort of gritty, more down to earth, more kind of, you know, grungy style. And it showed with, you know, the menus, it showed with all the character intros, and some of it hasn't aged as well, but it's still super memorable because of the stylistic choice and the dedicated full-on stylistic choice. These games look even better now that we can see them HD. Yeah, they do. Honestly, like I love a lot of like the retexture and the remaster mods and everything for some of these older racing games. And I'm hoping more and more people get into like the modding scene and begin making the cool mods for those games, because you can really breathe new life into them and really kind of showcase to developers, one, what the fandom actually wants, and two, here is an example of how to do it well. So modding in that regard makes it very, very, very fun. But it's still a tricky process. You know, you need a lot of computer encoding knowledge and everything. And that's just something I don't necessarily have in order to actually create mods. Using and setting up mods, I have a little bit of knowledge on, but actually creating mods from scratch, if someone needs like a 3D model created, you know, like a dot step file or something created for like a vehicle or like a part or whatever, I could probably do something like that because, like I said, I've got quite a few years of experience in, you know, quite a few different CAD softwares. But actually creating and coding the mod and putting the vehicle in and doing all the handling flags and everything, that may be a lot more difficult. Something that I don't nearly know as much about. I know enough to kind of follow if someone else is talking about it, if someone else is like kind of explaining things to me, I can at least follow and, you know, have a layman's understanding of it. But actually, you know, doing it myself, not as much. Alright, we have a few high performance, not say high performance, but a few sporty-ish vehicles in front of us. We got the Super Impreza, we got the Lancia Delta, 2 out of 3 of them are rally racing legends. And of course we have the Jaguar S-Type in front as well. The Jaguar is going to have a lot of speed on the straights, down the front straight. But we need to get past it quickly because otherwise it's going to slow us up on some of the tighter technical sections. And we're kind of getting backed up. We're getting backed up to the NSX, and the NSX is basically us but faster. And I don't want to be caught by the NSX. I want to put some distance. I want to put a couple of vehicles between us and that vehicle. They're taking a very early apex line of that corner. That would work, kind of, if this section wasn't as narrow. Oh gosh, bump, big bump. Car is very slidey, right at the very edge of control on these very slippery, silly city streets. That NSX is the guy I should tell you not to worry about. the faster, more powerful, better handling, mid-engine Japanese sports car. Oh gosh, I'd love to have an NSX though. Those vehicles absolutely gorgeous, especially the NA1 chassis with the pop-up headlights. No hate on the NA2 chassis or the hybrid NSXs, the modern ones. The first generation NSXs just look so good. That being said though, I'm absolutely terrified. Like, so I had a buddy in high school. He had one of the he had an old Toyota MR2, and you know those vehicles are basically the definition of snap oversteer, right? They are very twitchy, especially if you kind of overdrive them or you don't know what you're doing. And he ended up like putting it into a tree. Thankfully he was fine with the car. He ended up totaling the car. The poor car. So MR cars do kind of scare me a little bit in like actual like high performance situations. At the very least, if I was behind the wheel of them. So I would probably end up babying the NSX because mid-engine and rear-engine cars do jeez, do genuinely kind of scare me a little bit with how quickly they can kind of snap out from underneath you if you're not careful. I do want to gradually kind of learn to get a little bit quicker at them. But you know, the very, very twitchy. I usually do a little bit better with more kind of planted, kind of semi-balanced if slightly understeery cars. Whereas this is basically the exact opposite of that. It is very, very twitchy. Almost every game in 2005 to 2011 had the brown and yellow lighting. I don't know how it could be a good idea. It was partially the style at the time, and also it was sort of a way for. So basically, it was a means. It was a means to do a couple of things. One, it was just a style at the time, but also with the brown and yellow lighting, it kind of helped hide graphical infidelity in some of like the darker texture areas and stuff. It kind of helped hide that, but it also kind of helped add like additional color. It helped add like additional color to the color palette. Ironically, but kind of taking it away, and it basically allowed you to then crank up the saturation to the max on the non-brown and yellow colors in order to kind of get them to pop through the filter. And it was basically a way to kind of compensate for the early stages of HD 3D graphics, where people were really trying to focus on like massive graphical fidelity, but we didn't really have the technology for like, you know, the super crisp visuals and everything. And so it was just basically a way to kind of mask it with like, you know, insane amounts of filters and, you know, all of that stuff. It's basically, think of it as like a massive amount of foundation and makeup and everything, but for a game, as opposed to for someone's face. It's basically there to kind of hide the imperfections and all of that stuff. But then you get up closer and you're like, this person is orange. This person is literally like orange. This is not their skin color. I can literally see, like, if you look like at their hairline, you can literally see like a vastly different color compared to what's on their face. And it kind of enters that uncanny valley if you look at it a little bit too closely. GC turns and elbows change. Look at the amount of Range Rovers here. Good thing I finally became motion sickness. Yeah, no, Route de la Seine. There's a reason why you don't really see me doing this track all that much. It's for a couple of reasons. One, that NSX is going to absolutely... Oh wait, that's the skyline. It's even got the turn that's so huge it feels like it loops into itself. Yeah, no, this is the reason I don't really drive Route de la Seine all that much. The twisty parts don't really have any good like overtaking spots, so we can kind of run side by side alongside the other opponents. So the only real overtaking spot is into that tight hairpin turn, right? Which is after a very, very long straight. So this is purely a power-based track. In a game where you're supposed to win against faster vehicles using your racing skills and using your driving skills. So it's very antithetical to the game's design. It's definitely one of my less favorite tracks in the game. I don't like this nearly as much as some of the other city street circuits. Now that a bunch of camera effects the camera maker spend millions to get rid of. Yes! Let's add motion blur. Let's add chromatic aberration. Let's add an extra Gaussian filter over top of it as well to kind of make it look like we smeared Vaseline on the screen for those soft, you know, those soft scenes. It's, oh gosh, no, it's basically a different way for people to kind of add like extra effects and everything to the game to make it seem like it's, you know, visually better than it actually is. But here's the thing though, and I want, if there's ever any game developer that survived the apocalypse and somehow stumbles upon my videos by sheer random chance. Game developers, particle effects don't make your game good. Dirt 5. You want gameplay to come first. And ultimately, right now, as long as it's good enough, like I can roughly tell what's happening, and like the cars aren't just like super pixelated, I'd rather have more time spent into gameplay features or an actual unique art style than, and I mean like by actual or unique art style, I mean like dedicated throughout like everything, even the UI, like have a set idea as to what you want to do, and then focus on making it as polished as possible without adding in like all the bajillion bells and whistles. Sounds like Smash players wanting to set up the messed up in just the right way. I mean a little bit. Like I'd rather have a game that has a little bit of jank, but like a massive amount of personality, and that's actually fun to play than most of the kind of AAA releases that we're getting now, where it's just bad. It's just unfun. It's been a downward spiral since 2. I don't know. I really enjoyed 3, but I'm also kind of a like 3 was basically the video game equivalent of Red Bull vodka or Monster Energy vodka, where it's trashy, but it's kind of fun. 4 and 5 weren't all that great. 4 was okay, but they kind of tried to make 4 too much into the Dirt Rally games. The randomly generated stages were a really cool feature though, and I kind of hope they bring that to like whatever rally game they do next, like for the actual like rally sim. 3 was so much fun. I enjoyed a lot of like the party modes in 3. You know, the infection mode where you like you're in like the Battersea compound or one of the other arenas, and you gotta run away from like one person that's like the infected card, and if they touch you, you become like an infected as well. And then you gotta try to hunt them down. That was fun. Or like the cat and mouse game mode. Like that would be really, really cool too. Like the cat and mouse game mode. That'd be something that'd be really, really cool in like Wreckfest. Where you're trying to basically take down the other team's mice as the cats, and try to get your mice across the line first. Like that'd be fun. And the cat and mouse was so much fun. I enjoy driving the little tiny mini Coopers. Yeah, four, like I said, 4 had some decent ideas. I really enjoyed the kind of randomly generated stages and everything. And that did kind of keep it fresh. But that's definitely something that would be much better appreciated in like an actual like dirt rally game or something, especially in like, you know, like more competitive esports, because then it's less, you know, it's much closer to actual rally where you're not memorizing the stages. You are literally just adapting to them as they come across. Like you get you know, one set of like, you know, a reconnaissance run or whatever, but then after that is like your only time doing the stage, and then you're just, you know, full tilt into that stage, and everyone gets that same stage, that same, you know, spawn seed for the stage. Like that'd be kind of cool in like an actual like esports-ish competition. But that wasn't really how it worked, which is a little bit sad. Is that a Lotus Eclipse? There was a Lotus Elise a bit behind us. Oh! Now there's gonna be a Lotus Elise in front of us. Wow. What was that? I barely clipped the inside curbing, and the car just... Alrighty then. But yeah, so we're gonna pass these vehicles. I'll get back up in front of him. I can get back up in the second place without too much issue. We got 6 more laps to get this knocked out. First vehicle in front of us, that's the FC RX-7, about 202 horsepower, turbocharged, twin rotor rotary engine, 1.3 liters, very lightweight, beautiful, very beautiful, late 80s, early Japanese sports car. Next one, Lotus Elise. This is the 2nd generation Elise, so I got distracted. Nah, it's fine. I just clipped something on the inner wall, and it sent me into the biggest tailspin ever. This track looks a bit similar to the Ridge Racer 5 racetrack. Yeah, it kinda does. I enjoy Rev City quite a bit when it's not sending me into the wall. It's a very fun track that you can kind of have a lot of. It's really enjoyable in a vast majority of vehicles. And the good mix of sort of mid-speed and high-speed corners means that for the most part, most vehicles can be relatively competitive on this track. But yeah, right there, that's the 2nd generation Lotus Elise. And it's powered by a Toyota inline 4-cylinder engine. Very, very nimble, British targa top sports car. Next up, this is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 3, powered by the 4G63 engine, 270 horsepower, all-wheel drive, rally, very, very fast in the rally scene. Basically, the rival to the Super Impreza WRX STIs. Very, very quick. A lot of these vehicles do have motorsport pedigrees as well. The FC RX-7s were used a little bit in the IMSA GTO class, as well as other more so tuner-based and GT-based racing series of the late 80s and early 90s. The Lotus Elise was primarily used more so in club racing. There was a one-make race for Lotus Elise as well, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Lotus in the 2010s did have a GTE program with their Evora, but that did not turn out too well. Lotus did not do very well with the GTE program. GTE program kind of favored more slightly larger and more powerful vehicles, whereas the Evora wasn't quite up to snuff. More so favored things like, you know, your BMW M6s and M8s, your Porsche 911s, your Corvettes, those types of cars. So the GTE Evo was a little bit down on power and very much down on reliability as well. It was not a good time for Lotus in the 2010s. Ooh. Second place is actually keeping pace with the Bugatti EB110. Since we're talking about it, we may as well talk a little bit more about the Bugatti EB110. It was created during the 90s, and for a short time, it was one of the fastest street legal cars that was ever produced. That car, a lot of people kind of like to talk about in the 2010s, the McLaren P1, the Porsche 918, and the Ferrari LaFerrari as the holy trinity of supercars. And in the 2000s, you had the Ferrari Enzo, the Porsche Carrera GT, and the Mercedes SLR McLaren as the holy trinity of the 2000s. But in the 90s, you had the Bugatti EB110, the Jaguar XJ220, and the McLaren F1. Those were the three big, like, high-end, super high-end dream cars of the 90s. And all of them, at one point or another, had a record for the fastest street legal production car. Good well, guys. Thanks for the support. No problem. I do wish you the best of luck tomorrow. Yeah, make sure you get a lot of rest, and good luck tomorrow, man. Hope you do well. Thank you. You do the same. Alright, man, that second place is actually keeping pace with the Bugatti fairly well. I'm gonna try to catch up a little bit more. That spin though posed us a little bit of issue. The Bugatti's still holding off on the whatever second place is. Oh, also, Bugatti, when they went under in the 90s, the unproduced, the EB110s, the parts for the EB110, and the tooling and everything, was purchased by a German company called Dower. Now, if you're familiar with Dower, you know they also made a special version of the Porsche 963 Group C car that was basically a street legal Group C car that was used in the GT1 class at Le Mans. So Dower is basically sort of like a rebadging company that kind of retooled and reworked other vehicles that had been out of production. And they bought the license and they bought the tooling and everything for the EB110. And so later on, they then ended up producing their own version of the EB110, and that's the version that's actually in this game. I know I call it the Bugatti EB110 because that's the original manufacturer of the car, but in this game, it is actually licensed under Dower as opposed to Bugatti, which is an interesting little tidbit. Performance-wise, there wasn't too much difference to them. It's just basically if you knew you had an earlier model if it was produced by Bugatti, or a later model if it was produced by Dower. Geez, second place is giving it a massive run for its money, though. With the Bugatti, the Jaguar XJ220 and the McLaren F1, both in Gran Turismo 7 as well, it'd be cool to have the Bugatti EB110 be featured and actual events created for those cars. That would be really, really cool. But Kazunori would rather put in 20 more escapes locations. Oh yeah, the Nismo R34 Skyline. Right. That thing is basically a supercar killer in and of itself. Producing in the mid 400-ish horsepower range. Four-wheel drive, very light, much lighter than the regular R34. Very quick car. Now let's see. There we go. I don't know anything about cars though. That's alright. If you have any questions about any of the vehicles that we're up against or whatever I'm driving, by all means, I'm happy. I'm more than happy to gush about them. Cars are my life. At least one major aspect of my life. And it's always the cool thing with cars is cool thing with anything though is no matter how much or how little you know, you can always learn more, which is what makes it very fun. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go. Because trust me, when I was a young kid, I didn't know a whole lot about cars either. I basically just liked cars going, oh wow, they're going around the track. Oh wow, it's super fast. Oh wow, drivers. I wanna do that when I grow up. And eventually, you know, you kind of through a little bit of osmosis and through a little bit of like reading on your own, you gradually kind of, you know, learn. Oh, so this is why they're fast. And then you read up a little bit more, and you're like, oh wait, I kind of understood why they're fast, but this is really why they're fast. I'm a car salesman. Maybe. I'm definitely much more talkative when I'm behind the avatar than I am in person. I'm much more introverted in real life, but partially because I'm not really showing my face, I can kind of be a little bit more talkative and stuff. Like it's still the same me. It's just a more outgoing version of me. You know, the mistakes I make are genuine. The passion and stuff like that for the cars and stuff like that is genuine. You know, my thoughts are still my thoughts. But I'm a little bit more dare I say vocal about them when I'm in virtual form. in real life, I'm much more of a behind the scenes type of guy of I just hand part of that project to me, I'll get it worked on, I'll send it back to you. Awesome, okay. Cool. No more human interactions, let me just work at the computer now. Streaming, it definitely is very difficult to kind of get into streaming mode as well. But this definitely helps out a lot, where it's kind of behind the behind the anime VTuber persona stuff. Definitely a lot much more enjoyable. I was thinking maybe I can do like except right now I'm working on the editing on the Wreckfest review. That's gonna be like the first like long form edited piece of content. But I was thinking in addition to doing like the gaming reviews and stuff like that for racing games, I was thinking maybe doing like a thing on like automotive, basically called it like spark plug notes or something, where I talk about like it's a much shorter thing, you know, maybe like sub 5 minutes, where you know it's a video where you can kind of be like, okay, what is a Japanese K car? Why are they important? What are key vehicles in that? Awesome, cool. All right, what is an engine? How does it work? Why does it work? What are certain types of engines available? And then from there, I can kind of create other stuff of like, well, what is this type of engine? What does this mean on this engine? Like that'd be kind of cool. In addition to like the racing game reviews, I probably don't have as much knowledge or ability to really talk about other non-racing games. I'll still play them, but I probably won't necessarily review those as much because I don't know nearly enough about that type of game design and what works and what doesn't compared to actual racing games, because for the most part, up until probably around like the 2012, 2013 years, racing games were pretty much the only thing I played. Because I was weird and hyper-fixated on cars and race. I still do a little bit, but I do like to kind of branch out a little bit. Oh. Yeah, when you're on the permanent circuits, the car is a lot more well behaved, I think, because the track's a little bit wider, the corner is a little bit smoother. You're not going over really rough patches of asphalt. It's much more, the vehicle is much more behaved, very controllable. The vehicle is drivable, submissive and drivable. I could do a Gran Turismo playthrough. That'd be fun as well. There's so many games I want to play, but so little time to actually play them. It's like I need to clone myself. I need to clone myself. Have one version of me stream in the morning, have another version of me stream at night. I'm sure that totally won't completely overload YouTube and cause me to get banned for like spam or something like that. A little bit slidey there. And across the line. Yeah, even on this course here, we're not reaching a top speed. The ZZ-S, not all that powerful. Much more getting its speed from maneuverability over anything else. It should give us quite a bit to level it up though, which is good. Yes, please. Let's see what performance parts we're getting on there. Oh, we're getting some grippy boys. Yes, please. I want some grippy boys. Yeah. And our ranking, of course, our rank is going to decrease. We're not really up against anything competitive. Ooh. We do, however, have Tsukuba Championship. Mid-engine sports car. Front-engine sports car, four-wheel drive sports car, mid-engine, and 2 other mid-engine sports cars. Sweet, this should be a fun one. Around Tsukuba as well at night. It should definitely be a really fun one. Three, 2, 1. All right, let's roll. Let's do it. Hi there, Nissan Z right on my outside with the VQ engine, 280-ish horsepower. Got another car just to the left. What are you? Oh, that's a Mercedes. Oh gosh. Okay, everyone is trying to fight. Everyone is jockeying for position on this first lap. There we go. Okay, we can get a little bit of speed under the Dunlop Bridge. MR2 had a little bit of issues. Okay, I want to brake a little bit before the light hits the ground. A little bit before the illuminated section. But otherwise, it wasn't a bad overtake. Let's hold our position on the straightaway. It's a shorter straightaway, but we might get challenged a little bit here. Minor wheel off course. Other than car racing, have you tried motorcycle racing, such as motor races? I have not. I've not really played a whole lot of like the motorcycle racing games. I did, however, find a copy of Tourist Trophy for the PlayStation 2. So if I do end up playing a motorcycle racing game, that'll probably be the one I pick for the first one. And that one, it's basically, if you're not familiar with Tourist Trophy, it's basically Gran Turismo 4, like same UI, same physics engine and everything, but it's with motorcycles as opposed to with sports cars. And it was made by the same people, Polyphony Digital. And that's probably the first one I do for the motorcycle racing. The big thing is with the motorcycle racing is it doesn't translate nearly as well to video games as opposed to four-wheeled car racing, unless you're going like in the full arcade routes. which does make it a little bit tricky to kind of. One, it makes it tricky for someone like me who already doesn't know nearly as much about like the physics behind motorcycles and how to go fast on motorcycles. It makes it a little bit tricky to kind of pick up and play and everything. But on the other hand as well, it makes it very, very difficult to kind of feel what's working, what's not working. There we go, nice and easy. The speed of this car though, now that it's been near fully modified, now that it's been near fully leveled up, this thing is really quick. You can hear the slightly more aggressive exhaust note and intake note as well. That's one thing this game does really well, is the sound design. For a PS2 game, like, it sounds really, really good. And you can really hear the vehicles, you know, change as they level up as well, and you can feel the difference as well. You know, the vehicle itself, without changing too much of the settings, it's a lot more well behaved. It's still a little bit. I'm lack of playing race game genre. If you're looking for recommendations, I can always give you some. Whether on the arcade side of things or more on the simulation side of things. There's plenty, especially if you go into like the older racing games. There is a lot of really good stuff that's kind of buried and hidden away. You have the Tokyo Extreme Racer games, and while the first one on the Dreamcast is kind of mid, I'm not liking it as much as I enjoy the other ones. All the other Tokyo Extreme Racer games are very good. We've got the Midnight Club games, which are very solid. You have Juiced. Juiced is a really good game as well. The first Juiced. Hot Put Nights is kind of weird. But the first Juiced is really cool, because it's basically, you know, you get daytime, nighttime racing, but you have, you know, full, you know, a whole bunch of car customization and everything. And that one is probably about as close as you can get to like an older like kart PG. Where, you know, you kind of start with a set of money, and basically you kind of choose your way through the career mode and everything. You choose who you want to race, how you gain respect from different teams and everything. How you're gonna build your vehicle, how you're gonna build, you know, kind of set up your garage and all that stuff. It's very cool. Definitely recommend you give Juice a try. It's a bit of an acquired taste, but it is really good. That one was on the PlayStation 2. And I think the Xbox as well. But don't quote me on that. I know it's for the PlayStation 2 at least, because I have the physical disc literally on the shelf to the right of me. What's some other good racing games that kind of fell by the wayside and have been forgotten about? Automotive Elise is a good one. That's the one we were talking about a little bit earlier, with the game being, you know, super stylized with the cel shaded graphics and everything. Very slidey game though. Be prepared to kind of learn how to slide your vehicles without losing too much speed. Very fun though. What's some other good ones? Oh yeah, the old Hot Wheels games. For the PlayStation 2, all the THQ Hot Wheels games. Stunt Track Challenge, World Race, and Velocity X. Those ones are all really cool and unique in their own right. Stunt Track Challenge is kind of more so like a variety game show type of thing, where it's a mix of racing and like doing different like stunt challenges and stuff. World Race is pure racings. Thanks for the recommendation, but I don't play it for some reason. That's alright. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea. Different games. You know, different games for different folks and everything. Like for me, I can't really do too much first-person shooter games. One, because I'm absolutely terrible at them, and two, because first-person shooter games are like the only games that consistently make me motion sick. Like everything else, I can be perfectly fine in. But first-person shooter games make me very nauseous very quickly. First-person games in general make me a little bit, with the exception of first-person racing games, first-person games in general make me a little bit queasy. That's why usually for non-racing games, you see me use the third-person camera more often than not. If I can help it, anyway. More like RPGs and MMORPGs, like Final Fantasy and Sweet Pudding. Oh, nice, sweet. That's the genre I'm kind of getting, trying to kind of branch into. Cause I've heard like a lot of really good things about like different RPGs and stuff, but I was never really able to get into them as much. But with you know, with streaming and everything, actually having people kind of, you know, get a little bit more knowledgeable, kind of helping along and everything, like that is a lot more help. I really like that quite a bit, and it's made the experience a lot more enjoyable than if I was just playing by myself. DachiQ, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Right now we're about to fully level up this beautiful TommyKaira ZZ-S, the equivalent of the basically it's the Japanese equivalent of the Lotus Esprit. Lightweight, very twitchy mid-engine car, powered by a high-revving inline 4-cylinder engine. Ninja emoji. This car is kind of the equivalent of a ninja. Not a whole lot of power, but really quick, very rapid. Oh gosh, easy around this section here. There we go. Okay, just a little bit squirrely on the corner exit. That is the nature of mid-engine cars. They really like to kind of throw you off a little bit. They really enjoy the kind of rotating when they want to, and only when they want to, not when you want to. Second place is still pretty close behind. I was hoping we pull a little bit more of a gap from them, but I guess not. I'd imagine that's the NSX. It is the NSX. Correct me if I'm wrong, but most Western people love the FPS and battle royale games, right? Those are the more popular genres, yeah. That and sports games as well. Those consistently kind of make up like the big, sort of the general casual audience. Outside of that, it's a once you get past like the casual audience, you get a lot more into like the deeper audience, and in the West you can find subgroups of for pretty much any genre. But for the most part, it's mostly, you know, FPS and like the battle royale and stuff. Like Fortnite is really popular here in like the United States and everything. I had a roommate. I actually had two roommates. One that really enjoyed the one that played the ever-loving hell out of Fortnite back when it was building simulator. Another one that played quite a bit of the PUBG, the tactical battle royale. Fortnite is one of the more popular games in Japan, is Splatoon to know. Yeah, that's fair. That is also fair. Yeah, and now guys, yeah, Japan does have a Japan usually doesn't like shooters as well, which is really weird. But Fortnite is Splatoon, I guess because it's less violent and more cartoony. Since it's more cartoony, Japan kind of enjoys the kind of animated violence as opposed to like the more realistic and gory Chainsaw Murderfest 5000 simulator that is, you know, more westernized first-person shooters. And with the CSGO, it is somewhat popular here in the States, but it's especially popular in like a lot of like the Eastern European, you know, kind of around like there, Russia and stuff like that. So in that regards, CSGO is more so a, I don't know if you consider that a Western or an Eastern thing, but it's basically like Eastern Europe is where you really get the big you know, the big popularity of that type of stuff. All right, let's pull you up. There we go. All right, let's see what vehicle we're gonna use. 6. Okay, we're using a JGTC car. Sweet. Another mid-engine high-performance vehicle. No, it's yeah, like if you look like the like if you just pick someone off the street or whatever, you'd find a good mix of like what type of games they like to play. Like some people like to play platformers, some of us like playing racing games, some of us like doing whatever. But if you look at like sales numbers and stuff like that, yeah, FPS games are really quite popular here in the States. You know, that type of stuff, that's all popular. A lot of people don't know what Mega Man X is. Yeah, not in the West anyway. You usually get that more so in like the more kind of niche, dare I say, kind of nerdier circles and everything. I know what Mega Man X is. I've not played Mega Man X. But I do know what it is. I have played a lot of the older Mega Man games though, and those are a lot of fun. It's if you go by trends, yeah, FPS games are definitely a little bit more popular or are fairly popular in the West, especially like your Call of Duties and that type of stuff. Especially your Call of Duties and your Battlefields and everything. Those are really popular in the West. But you know, it definitely varies quite a bit by country because you have different like, you know, different cultures and everything. Like I said, with like Eastern Europe and like, you know, Russia and all that stuff. Okay, let me rephrase it. COD is super popular in like at the very least America. Like in America, COD is very popular. But like CS:GO is only moderately popular in the US, but it's super big. It's super big in like, you know, Eastern Europe, Russia, and stuff like that. To the point of the meme. You haven't really played. You haven't played CS:GO truly until you've been cursed out in at least two Eastern European languages and have been called a bliat by an angry Russian with a crunchy microphone. That is a true CS:GO experience. But then you have like, for example, like South Korea, like mobile games, as well as MOBAs, like your StarCraft and that type of stuff, are really popular in South Korea. But that wouldn't necessarily be part of like all of Asia. But it's super popular in South Korea. To the point where like a massive amount of like, you know, StarCraft players and everything for like esports are, you know, from South Korea as well. Like they have like dedicated leagues and stuff like that there. We need to go much faster. Come on, this NSX needs to go a little bit quicker. We're losing speed on the straights. This vehicle is a little bit underpowered. Most of the other vehicles here are powered by V8 engines. We only got the little V6 in the back. Then you have the big V12 powered McLaren F1. We need to go a little bit quicker. I do not want to be in first gear on this corner. I don't have traction control. There we go. Sneak up the outside now. Oh, keep it there. Ooh, boy. Alright, let's try, now that we're ahead of them. We can push a little bit harder to get back up to the Opal that's ahead. We could probably finish a solid third if we can avoid too many mistakes. What's it hanging and making FUD? What's FUD? Oh, fudge. Fudge? Oh gosh, come on. I apologize, I'm in like hyper-focus mode right now, trying to keep this thing. It's another mid-engine car, but it's got really grippy tires and massive amount of downforce, which is a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it means it's very quick around the turns. It also means if we go past its grip limit, it'll spin like a top. Very much so. We will spinala. And we do not want to. We don't want a spinala. Never mind. I mean, if you look at trends and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at like trends and stuff, like you will find like different countries have like different you know, preferences and stuff. Like RPGs are generally like, you know, more popular in, you know, Japan and like those types of places. And it wasn't really until the likes of BioWare and Bethesda and everything where you really got more Western people into RPGs and stuff. But yeah. Man, PUBG, it's an FPS game that was made in Korea. And it is definitely one of the more popular FPS games in the world. And it is played in a lot of countries. Like I said, one of my roommates used to play. One of my roommates used to play PUBG like quite a bit, and it was intense just kind of watching it, because oftentimes he'd take more of like a sniper type role for like longer range stuff, and it was cool because I kind of like act as like during times when we weren't doing classes and homework and everything, I'd sometimes watch and I'd act as like a spotter and stuff. And that's very, you know, it was very fun doing that, because I could be like, you know, a second set of eyes. Because while I wasn't that good at like the actual shooty part of PUBG, I was okay at like the strategy part of PUBG, where I'm like, okay, you may want to kind of hold off. We're low on supplies. Let's kind of wait around the outside, kind of circle around and everything, and pick people off from the outside and then see what they got. And he was able to just consistently land the shots, and together, like alone, neither of us could really get the chicken dinner. One, because I suck at shooting, especially close range shooting. But he was, and he just was a little. I mean, he had okay strategy. But he'd sometimes just get caught out with like bad luck or whatever, and wouldn't be able to kind of turn it around. But with him kind of working on like the shooty part, and me kind of working on the strategy part. Oh my gosh, the number of chicken dinners, num num num. It was very fun. We were better than the sum of our parts. Also, we've caught up the Opel. We've caught up the Opel V8 DTM car, but it's being a little bit tricky. We don't really have a good opening to make an overtake, and we're still not quite right up on it. Though I think that'll change after this corner. The McLaren F1 is surprisingly being a little bit slower than I thought they would be, especially through this middle sector here. Just gotta pass it. You just press the throttle down. Just press the throttle down harder. Oh, that was a mistake there. Come on, inside. What's about we got genres such as Escape from Tarkov. That one's a little bit more of a niche subgenre, at least here in the States. At least from the people I've seen playing it. But it is still a, you know, when you have more like niche subgenres and stuff, you have a smaller but much more dedicated group of fans and stuff. So with that, it's cool though. Like for example, like racing games. Racing games are like a super small niche in the market. But the people that play racing games, you know, are really into racing games like myself. And, you know, spend hours, you know, dedicating time just to getting just, you know, another 1/10 of a lap time out. Ooh, we may be able to actually beat the McLaren F1 as well. But I've never played Escape from Tarkov. That sounds like a cool one as well. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of like other gaming genres I do want to try. But the two big things are, one, I don't know nearly enough about the genre to really provide meaningful commentary as much. Like with like RPGs, at least I can kind of like commentate on the story and everything. But I don't know nearly enough to like really commentate too much on like my battle tactics, except for I just want to go faster and deal more damage than the enemy and hope that they don't kill me in one hit. Come on. Oh, don't slow down there. You can go full throttle through that corner. You have the downforce. I would know. I've driven the McLaren F1 before in this game. Oh, this thing sounds gorgeous though. Oh, but that's got that V12 power. We got a little bit more downforce, so we might be able to hang it around the outside. Oh, dang. GG, McLaren F1. GG right there. If we were a little bit more aggressive, we could have probably passed it in the middle sector under the Dunlop Bridge. Where it was the sharp right into the sweeper left. But that was still fun. Resident Evil is popular. Yeah, Resident Evil is popular in the States. Especially recently. Like Resident Evil Village really kind of got people back interested in the game again. But like after Resident Evil 4, you definitely had the game definitely kind of fell off a little bit in the States. But with Resident Evil Village and all the subsequent games and the remakes and stuff, people are kind of picking it up again and playing those games again, and are really enjoying the remakes and stuff. So now regards, you know, that comes and goes. Oh yeah, FNAF is huge, especially amongst like the younger, little bit more of the younger crowd and everything. I mean, Scott Cawthon in indie dev, he did a really good job of like they're making the original. He did a good job of kind of turning the criticism for what was supposed to be sort of like an edutainment game of like Chipper and Sons Lumber Company. He turned that into an actual horror game, and that is really cool. Man took the criticism and was like, okay, fine. I can make it look actually creepy then. And GG in our regards. A lot of other people would have, you know, probably quit, you know, after getting roasted on one of the older games and everything. But he was like, okay, fine. I will just turn this into a horror game. So big props to him. As much as I kind of sometimes cringe at some of the things the community creates. All the interesting fan arts. The interesting fan arts of some of the characters. Especially Chica. Or Foxy. Oh gosh. You know, he's definitely a really cool guy. Like, being in communication with like the fandom and stuff like that. That's definitely like, that's one of the benefits of like in indie devs and everything. It's definitely one of the benefits of indie devs is you can be a lot more open. You can be a lot more, you know, kind of a bit more behind the scenes, showcasing. So this is what's currently happening. This is what I am planning on doing. I respect you enough to respect me back. And you can kind of have that like mutual respect and stuff. Whereas like with AAA developers, it's a lot more. We're not gonna tell you what's gonna happen. If it happens, it happens. Get pissed on, boy. That is pretty much every community now. Fair enough. Yes, that is true. That is very true. Rule 34, Rule 63. all of the rules of the internet. So most of them are absolutely horrible, but they exist for a reason. Oh, don't want to go below the weight line. This thing has massive, like, gobs of downforce though in the high speed sections. And that's kind of the nature of the JGTC cars, the Japanese Grand Touring Championship cars. Huge amounts of downforce. They still have the body shell and everything of like the production vehicles. And these things, they are quick. And the modern ones especially, like the more recent GT500. The most recent GT500 class. They're 700 horsepower, turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engines. Absolutely terrifying cars. They're basically prototypes with the shell of a production vehicle. The worst is still Pokemon. Batman! Batman! I caught a Pokemon, Batman! You wanna see what Pokemon I caught, Batman? It's a Lopunny, Batman. Or gosh, the Vaporeon copy pasta. Oh gosh. But no. If you really want to see the worst, at the very least, the most, the things that require the most eye bleachy, the most eye bleachy fan arts and fan stories and everything. The Sonic the Hedgehog fandom. Now, I like Sonic the Hedgehog. I like a lot of like the classic games. I love the movies, the modern movies as well. But oh gosh, the fandom kind of scares me a little bit. Like if you Google your name and then followed by the Hedgehog, you will find something. You will find someone's original character. Do not steal. And it's painful. It is so painful. Like what you want or whatever, but that don't necessarily mean everyone else has to like it. That being said, I should play some of the older Sonic games. That'd be kind of fun. This is one of the few platformer games that I really enjoyed when I was younger. Especially the pre 3D Sonic era. Playing that on my cousin's Sega Genesis. Those were the days. But you know, pretty much, if it has a anthropomorphic animal character in it, or vaguely humanoid like animal character in it, you're gonna bet I bet my bottom dollar there is gonna be some very horrific fan art of that character. Doesn't matter if they're sentient or not. Nope. That doesn't matter. There's gonna be fan art. And yeah. Speed this car carries through the twisties though. The high speed sections, it is so good. I'm really enjoying the NSX though. The JGTC NSX. This thing is grippy. So grippy. Need to let off the throttle just a little bit for this uphill section, just so we don't understeer. And then through backwards right on here. There we go, there we go, there we go. And then there's the finish line. Yoom. Nice. Very, very nice. How about Ace Combat? Oh, I've played Ace Combat before. I quite like Ace Combat. Ace Combat is really, really cool because it's basically it's basically Metal Gear Solid, but with planes. And in other words, basically, I mean, Like, it's super detailed with regards to, you know, the planes, the physics and everything. Like, Metal Gear Solid is super detailed with regards to the, you know, the guns, the combat, the different tactics and everything. But it has an absolutely batshit insane story, and I love it. Which series you played? Oh gosh, it was for the PlayStation 2. What was it? I don't have the game anymore, but I had it. Yeah, it was Shattered Skies. It was Ace Combat Shattered Skies was the one I played. That one, yes, that one was a lot of fun. I don't remember a whole lot about it. That one was really cool. All the planes and everything. There was one level where you're in the mountains and stuff like that, and you had to fly like super low through the mountains. And the number of times I crashed on that level because I was younger. Yeah, I was. At least I think it was Shattered Skies. Give me a second. Let me look it up real quick. Oh wait, no, my apologies. It was what was the one with the Stonehenge, I think. It wasn't 7, was it? Was it 5? Oh, those are multiple different Stonehenge missions in each of the different games. That's why I'm getting a little bit confused. You know, they had so many games. I remember there was one Stonehenge mission where I had to blow up a whole bunch of like they had the missile jammer and everything, so I had to kind of use your guns to blow it up, and I kept crashing into the guns. And that one was difficult. But I remember that one especially being like a tricky mission for me. It was fun though. I enjoyed Ace Combat quite a bit. I don't remember as much of the story. I definitely need to replay a lot of the older Ace Combat games because it has been a very long time since I've last played Ace Combat. But it's still really cool. The planes, the detail and everything. A lot of really cool missions as well. I definitely love to kind of do some Ace Combat. Bloody Nora. Completely got punted off of the road there. That's fine. Oh, Stonehenge is the iconic place in Ace Combat. Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, which Ace Combat has a Stonehenge mission? And Google was like, lol, you dummy, all of them do. But no, Ace. I think it was 4. It was either 4 or 5. It was definitely for the PlayStation 2. But it was one of those two that I remember playing it. And it was, oh my gosh, it was very fun. It was a difficult game though, because I was young at the time. And I didn't really fully understand, you know, airplanes or anything like that. So I'm just like, haha, missile and gun go burr. I think now that I'm older, I definitely want to try that out some more. Oh, you're gonna dive down the inside of me into the foxhole? That's not foxhole. What am I talking about? Alright, come on, big push now. The Mercedes is on the lead. At its home track, the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. This is tricky though, because there's very little place to pass. Midnight! Hey, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. There we go, can pass through Foxhole. There's Foxhole. We're kind of keeping pace with the Opel. Right now we're racing the beautiful Honda NSX, the JGTC version of it. Trying to get up into a much higher points paying position. You're gonna be very weird here. You're gonna brake check me, and I don't want that. There we go. Up into third. Second is just ahead. That's the other Nismo GTR. Fun fact about the Nismo, the GTR, the JGTC GTRs is all of them are front engine rear wheel drive. They don't have the four wheel drive systems like the production counterparts do. The thing about the worst characters in children's shows for whatever reason is Caillou on that list. I highly recommend putting Caillou on that list. Very, very whiny. Very much not a fun. It wasn't enjoyable to watch as a kid, but definitely not a good role model for kids either. Because he basically just cried until he got his way. Definitely not a good, on any aspect, children's character. The rest of the characters weren't bad, but Caillou was a little bit not great. I'm not too knowledgeable about like modern. Donna, you remember my ending to this? Wait, was that a setup for a joke? Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. No, like I legitimately like Caillou is definitely would definitely go on the top on a list for at least of my childhood. It shows around during my childhood characters I didn't like. So it was very, very annoying. Bonk. Yeah, a little bit too fast through there. You don't need to brake on that corner! This is why you're behind the DTM car. Get out of the way. There we go. Alright, time to catch the, Zoe from Sesame Street is awful. She was... oh gosh. I think she was a little bit after my time for watching Sesame Street, because she was a later edition. But yeah, Zoe was a little bit annoying. The rest of the Sesame Street characters, they were really, really good. My favorite was always Mr. Noodle. Just because he was just, you know, he was like one of the few like regular, not to say regular people, but just, he was just a chill guy. Like he didn't talk or anything, but he was just doing stuff, just kind of living his life. I'm like, they should make a Mr. Noodle show when I was a kid. Oh, that reminds me of back when I was younger, they did a live showing of like Sesame Street with like all the puppets and everything, and it's called it's called the Royal Farms Arena now in Baltimore. At the time, it was the first Mariner Arena, and both my parents were really, really sick, but they took my sister and I down there anyway to watch it, and it was a super fun experience. But then my parents got back and they were like bedridden for like an entire like day and a half because oh my gosh, they very, very sick, and that all the noise and everything and the trip and all of that made it was a little bit too much for them. The time she told everyone at Sesame Street Elmo was joking, didn't let me get a chance to tell it. Whoops. Yeah, that doesn't sound like anyone we know. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a setup for a joke. That's my mistake. I'm sorry. I'm Cookie Monster. Ah, Cookie Monster was so good as well. See, it's for Cookie. That's good enough for me. Yum 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 yum. Ah, Cookie Monster was great. There were so many good, like the effects and everything like that, like the puppetry and everything in Muppets, and as well as like the you know, the puppets and as well as like the Muppets TV show, all of them like did really cool with the like the puppetry and everything. Very awesome. Also, her pet rock is nothing but trouble. That pet rock. Always breaking people's glass houses. Oh, we needed to break much more than that. Oh, we're not gonna lose seconds. Bugger out of there, Nissan. Whew. That Mercedes though, very quick. It managed to kind of get past the mess. That rock sounds like Patrick's star. Hey, don't diss Patrick's rock. It won the 100th annual running of the snails. You know, it beat a purebred and it beat SpongeBob's pet. I miss old SpongeBob. Old SpongeBob was so much fun. But part of that's also nostalgic. Yeah, Zoe was definitely a little bit of a troublemaker. Well, I think, from what I gather, I think she got a little bit better in later seasons, which is good. But when she was first introduced, she was definitely very much not a fan favorite. A lot of people didn't really like her as much. Oscar was a fun one though. Like, he was a grouch, but like, that's the point though. Is like, you don't want to be like Oscar because he's angry and he lives in a trash can. Another one I hate is Ruby from Max and Ruby. I never actually watched Max and Ruby. Again, that one is a little bit after my time. But I'll say I guess agree with that one. But I definitely don't know a whole lot to don't know a whole lot to kind of contribute to that regards. Turbo the Snow be like, what? Yeah, no, that Mercedes was rapidly quick, and this Nissan up ahead, the GT1 class Nissan, the R390. That is a very quick car. That is a car that was basically designed to win at Le Mans in the '98 season. Only 2 production vehicles ever produced. And it was basically a prototype designed as a supercar. The McLaren F1, also a GT1 class car. But at least the McLaren F1 has a little bit less downforce, because it's one of the earlier GT1 cars where it was actually a production car. It was just a really, really fast production car that they bolted a couple of, aero pieces to. We're keeping pace though. Tsukuba, especially in the wet, you do need some fairly high downforce though. Really get the car pushed into the road, prevent it from hydroplaning. Oh gosh. But it is mid-engine though, like the other 2 in front. There's one episode where she gets Max a terrifying lobster toy. It ruins his birthday and doesn't stop it, where Max obviously doesn't want anything to do with it. She's kind of got like the Lisa Simpson problem, where basically she kind of wants, she thinks she knows kind of better what everyone else wants better than they themselves know what they want. Okay. Gotcha. Jeez, these 2 in front though, very quick. We are pushing this car as hard as we can as well. Like, we make even a slightest mistake, this thing is gonna be facing the wrong way and in a wall. Oh, Rain. Rain, why you be like this? Oh boy, come on. Easy there. Like, we're not losing a whole lot of time. In fact, we're probably right on pace with them. But otherwise, we need to go a little bit quicker. What makes it worse is like, Max is like 3 years old and autistic. I can only like one more episode, and that's how she treats him. Oh, dang. So she's just kind of like, so she kind of lords over him and stuff. That's unfortunate. Poor Max. Poor Max. Getting scary lobster toys. Yeah, we lost a little bit of time there. That's gonna lose us just a little bit more time. Yeah, that's gonna lose us a bit more time. Come on, gotta go a little bit faster than that. Gotta make sure we don't make any mistakes. We gotta hope that they keep slowing themselves down when they're battling. We're gaining a little bit of time on the first sector. We gotta gain a little bit more time on the second sector, but the third sector with the straightaway, we lose way too much time to be quick. Yeah, full videos explaining why she's so... Jeez. People will make like full-length video essays on pretty much anything. Here is why Little Bill is problematic. Well, you see, it all started with Little Bill's voice actor, Bill Cosby, and Little Bill's creator, Bill Cosby. You see, Bill Cosby was born in such and such dates, and he grew up in New York. I think he grew up in New York, like Harlem or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know actually know a whole lot about Bill Cosby's early life, despite the fact that I used to love watching Little Bill. No one, absolutely no one compares that the amount of Chaos Spawn Caillou. Yeah, Caillou. You know what's bad? When, like, even my sister and I, who were, like, right around the age, like, you know, people who are supposed to be watching Caillou, were like, yeah, no, he's just kind of whiny and annoying. We don't really like him. Let's watch something else, Mom. And, you know, it's even worse when Mom's like, yeah, you know what, you're kind of right. He's just kind of annoying. Just curious, why not Umbrella Syndicates? That's a good question. I mean, maybe if I was more of like a Resident Evil streamer, that would be kind of fun. But no, it's more just last name syndicates. I was trying to find something semi classy. Something like, you know, like Street Racing Syndicate or something. But it's the name's a little cringe, but hey, you gotta embrace the cringe, you know? You gotta embrace the cringe. That being said, the umbrella if you know any like Resident Evil streamers or whatever, you can get them to name their Discord, like, you know, the Umbrella Group or Umbrella Corporation or something. There's one time he threw the most circus attention before waiting to go to circus a day later. Bruh, I barely ever got a chance to go to the circus all that much when I was a kid. The circus was like something like super cool, and like it was like, you know, a big treat. So, you know, going only one day later, that's not an issue. Yeah, my parents definitely did a really good job of kind of instilling patience into both my younger sister and I. Oh gosh, where it's basically just wait, it'll happen, and if it doesn't happen, that's still fine too. You know, Caillou, I definitely didn't like Caillou as much. Caillou was basically like the one like kids TV show when I was younger where I was just like, nah, I'm gonna do something else. And I watched quite a bit of TV when I was a kid. Not as much now, like it's been a couple years since I've really kind of sat down to actually watch TV, like cable TV. But yeah, no, Caillou is definitely... Caillou is definitely very much not... He was a dick. Also pinched his baby sister. Yeah. Like, The other person that really annoyed me when I was younger was DW from Arthur. She was so annoying. She was super annoying, and she got away with everything too. Like, I definitely don't like DW. I do like the NASCAR DW of Darryl Waltrip, but not DW of Arthur. I didn't even know there was a Caillou book. There's a Caillou book? Who read that and was like, hey, you know what? You know what? We should animate this and turn this into a kid's cartoon. Like, who looks at it and goes, yeah, this is a good idea to teach kids. Oh, gosh. Oh, the pain. The pain. There we go. Very good. Let's see if we can win the R390. It's something that can compete with the later prototypes and stuff. Or not. Cool. Thank you, game. Very cool. Thank you, game. Top 3. Yeah, we finished on the podium, which is nice. Definitely beat a lot of the other opponents, which is good. They can Caillou due to complaints from parents of kids acting like him. Nice. So nice. Caillou is such a brat. Caillou is such a brat. I don't like him. I don't like him one bit. Also, you might just say he has cancer. No, he doesn't. He's just so like his own hair doesn't want to be around him. Oof. Big oof. Massive oof right there. Bro's just... Bro cries so much his body is like, nah, you're not gonna get any hair. This guy was cancer debut and lasted the anime show just as bad. Yes! Oh my gosh. Finally, someone else agrees how much of a little brat DW was. Like in the one episode where Arthur like in the one episode where Arthur, you know, got angry and hit her, like, okay, yeah, it's definitely bad to hit people. Do not hit people. But like, bro, she literally took his model airplane without him knowing and then broke it. Like that one still irks me like today a little bit. Where I'm like, nah, you should at least punish her too. Like, she literally broke something that he worked hard to make. So yeah, no, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of DW. Although she does have a few good memes though. For example, that sign won't stop me because I can't read is a great meme. You know, she never gets punished. She's a karma Houdini. Also, his parents are just as awful for not disciplining him. Yes, very much so. Like, you should at least be semi-firm with your kid as to, like, you know, what the limits are and don't push limits as well. You know, treat them. Obviously, don't talk down to them. Kids aren't stupid. But you still need to be, you know, firm with them and be like, no, you can't. Look, you can't do this. You need to wait, or not right now, or what have you. Or no, that's very much not good. We're not going to be doing that. And that was a dreadful corner there. Completely put our car in the wall. Jeez, that's gonna get the Supra right on our tail. The V8 powered Supra. Because very few JGTC Supras actually had the inline 6-cylinder engine, the 2JZ engine. Most of them either had the inline 4 from the Celica, or the V8s, the 3U series V8s. I decided to play the Wii version of Cars Racer Armor recently. How is it? How was it with like the motion controls and everything? I know you've played the handheld version of it. But is the Wii version better, worse? How is that one? I'd imagine because the Wii itself, well, it's not too powerful of a console. It's still not atrocious. It was probably able to, you know, be played decently. But very rarely do you have. Okay, let me rephrase this. Very rarely do you have non-Mario Karts, good non-Mario Kart racers for Nintendo systems. So yeah, it's very much hit or miss. That the sheer amount of shovelware produced for the Wii for racing games, also not fun. Alright, come on, let's go. Big push now. Onto the back straight. If you use the Wiimote and Nunchuck, it doesn't use motion controls much. Like this version is just like the other console versions. Oh, nice! Cool. So in that regard, it's a lot more bearable. Sweet. Just out of curiosity though, how bad is it with the motion controls though? If you only use the Wiimote, like that's gotta be pretty dreadful. Oh, the speed though. I gotta be, whoa! Gotta be very careful on the carousel here. The low center of gravity, the very stiffly sprung, very stiffly sprung JGTC cars cannot handle it. Alright, fun. I gotta catch back up to that now. It's not terrible, don't see me getting used to it. And motion controls are always very wonky. Like I played Need for Speed Carbon on the Wii once when I was at a friend's house, and I'm like, bro, you got ripped off. You need, like, even the PS2 version, like the PS2 version is so much better than this. And the PS2 version even had like features cut and everything, and was a downgrade compared to the PS3 and Xbox 360's versions. But the Wii version of Carbon was so bad. It was so bad. Alright, a #1 rank. Ah, we can try to get it back. Maybe. The final sector of the Nürburgring is definitely the part that I need to practice a little bit more. It's definitely my weakest link. It's a lot of corners that really kind of come at you really quick, and you need to basically know exactly where you are and where you need to do and how you to do it. For the most before, because I have the Xbox 360, which was the old days. Yeah, because that one as well, like it had a good use for like every single vehicle as well. Like it was really good. Like the old I've not played a whole lot of the old Forzas, but I've seen other people play them, and like the old Forzas, like it basically looks like it was a game designed by people who love cars for people who love cars, and I kind of wish more racing games were like that. Also, there's different control setups for both the Wiimote and its side since the Wii wheel for some reason. Interesting. Wonder why they did that. Ridge Racer dropped the OSC. Oh, sweet. I love in Ridge Racer 5, the soundtrack in that game was really good. I quite like that one a lot. Ridge Racer 5 was a very fun game. I haven't played a whole lot of the more modern Ridge Racer games, but some of the older Ridge Racer games were a lot of fun for me growing up. Because it designed the maps around actually kind of sliding a car and basically with a sort of break the drift in mind. The only actual difference is one input on the D-pad. Oh, because it needs to be... Gotcha. It's probably tilted a different way or whatever. Maybe. Interesting. Come on, let's get this leveled up to level 10. We'll be back in the compact cars. And ouch, jeez, we need to do a little bit better. We need a couple actual wins. We got Tsukuba, we got Nerd. That's one of the downside of the tarmac race cars, though, is oftentimes you're up against, well, you only have like 4 different tracks. And some of the tracks don't really do well in the reverse version. So we're back on Tsukuba. It's basically been Tsukuba and Nordschleife with this car. They needed more permanent racing circuits in order to actually have racing cars in this game. Or at the very least, allow the racing cars to be used on some of the flatter circuits, like Victoria Garden and like that type of stuff. I think that would have gone off better. Are you really gonna push me out wide? That's mean. There's one thing that makes me like the Wii version that much. All right, what's that? What's the big issue with that one? We tap on the brakes with the car turned in. Alright, come on, go, go, go. Alright, we have a little bit of time to get back up into the front. Let's make sure we don't lose the McLaren F1 though. That is a fast, very, very fast car. Bump. Yep, bump, bump, bump. These cars in front of us, they're really quick on the straights. They slow down way too much on the turns compared to us. Like, we can go a lot faster than them on the turns. So getting past, especially the DTM car. The DTM car's got a little bit more power than us. But it has a lot less cornering speed. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit dirty there. Push past you. Alright, come on, there's the Supra. Which Nissan or Toyota suburb car would I turn into Le Mans race car? I'm not too sure. I know. With the ACO going to GT3 cars later on, it'd be cool to see a GT3 version of the Supra, the modern Supra, getting used as a GT3 car. But right now, Toyota already has the GR. Has the GR 01, sorry, the GR 010 prototype car in the LMH class. So they already have the LMDH class, but the and for the lower GT class, probably the Supra. Nissan has kind of been slowing down their motorsports division. And they're very much not doing the best economically, so I don't see them doing anything with their like GTR or the Z or anything like that in terms of motorsports. In other versions, there's just optional Guido kart races. You race as Guido and he controls terribly. Yeah, he's got the short wheelbase, so probably. Thankfully, all these races are optional. Oh, let me guess. Are they mandatory in the Wii version? They're probably mandatory in the Wii version to pad out some extra runtime or something. If so, that's terrible. Too much bumping, penalties await you. Yeah, no, this is definitely not the cleanest race we've had. Negative penalty. Oh, we need a little bit more. We need to go a little bit faster. Thankfully, though, in most motorsports, slight touching and stuff like that, as long as no one ends up worse for wear, like for the most part, like light bumping is allowed. But like if there's a collision that causes an accident, then the stewards really like investigate it, and it's basically either driver fault of one person, or fault of a different driver, or it's a racing incident. And yeah, then you get the penalties and everything. In the Wii version, one of these races is mandatory. Oh, that sounds like pain. Why? At the very least, they could have tried to like, make Guido semi-controllable. But you know, gosh, that's horrible. That is horrible. Lane bumping? In a way, like, you know the phrase rubbing is racing? Like, you can definitely have, like, light taps and stuff like that with other drivers. And as long as, like, there's no major damage to each other's vehicles, or no one ends up, you know, getting pushed off the course or what have you, like, you can definitely kind of nudge your way kind of on the inside and stuff. I'm definitely taking it much more aggressively than I should. Like, my driving would 100% result in a penalty. But also, the McLaren is in a class that's a little bit faster than the JGTC cars. And technically, he just moved into braking there and is trying to close the door on me, which is also penalty worthy. So, you know, you gotta kind of watch out for that. And all the other versions of the events, like Guido Kart Race replaces much more manageable monster truck race. Oh, but the Wii version doesn't have the monster truck race. I guess they weren't able to kind of program that or whatever for the Wii version for some reason. I'm not sure why, but for some reason. And so they needed a replacement, and they already had it coded in then. That's horrible though. You get the more difficult. You get the more difficult game on the worse or the not as powerful system. There we go. Try moving on to braking that time, buddy. Super late braking. You're gonna pass me on a straightaway though. That V12 on McLaren F1 is very quick. Now, the Wii version has it. It's just not a story mission. That version. And only that version. Okay, from a development point of view, that doesn't make any sense then. Why would they do it like that? That's horrible. Shame on you developers. Why would you do it like that? Like, you have a good roadmap for every other game. Why change it for one version and one version only? It's kind of silly. Okay, it's very silly. But still, that's... Why would you do that? Oh, the speed though. Okay, we have a little bit more distance. McLaren F1 is going to be catching us on this straight, but we have enough ground now that we can carry more speed into the right-hand sweeper and hold them off for much longer. That's the only event that's changed. Yeah, that's strange. Why would you do that? Developers, I don't understand. Also, I just looked at the map because I haven't really been paying much attention to the map. I'm not sure who it is that's in 6th place right now, but they are very far behind the rest of the pack. Very, very slow. What is wrong with you, buddy? What happened? Did he go off course? Did he spin? How do you lose that much time when most of these cars are roughly on pace with each other? And I'd hate to see what he's driving. Oh yeah, the speed of this around the turns. Also, Doc is in a few races in the Wii version where it doesn't appear in any other version. Interesting. But I mean, with that one, you know, it's mostly just like an AI opponent and everything. It probably doesn't affect the difficulty too much. Number 6 doing R&R. Number 6 is just cruising. He's just like, I'm just happy to be here. Now, number 6 is doing a pure Williams moment. TM. Williams, what happened? What happened to you, Williams? You used to be like, you know, being able to compete with the best of the teams. You know, you used to be, you know, the privateer team that all the factory back teams would look up to. Now you're just there on Old Glory. Ah, sad. So sad. Pain. Oh my gosh, it was the Opel Astra. I'm surprised that one was going so slow. It's not that slow of a vehicle. It's on pace. It should be on pace with the other DTM car, the Mercedes CLK. Jeez, the amount of collision I have with the other vehicles. Yep, I definitely need to clean up my act a bit. Like in one of the boss races, Sarge's in the cutscene and in a race. But in a Wii version, Doc appears in a race, but not in the cutscene. Interesting. Still, I mean, with the actor for that cutscene, you know, passing away and everything, not too long after the first Cars was created. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, anyway. Like it would definitely, you know, it is a nice little kind of, you know, tribute, you know, kind of having him in one more game and everything. All right, let's see how terrible we do here on this quiz. It is nothing but straights and 4 corners. I'm sure this won't end absolutely horribly for us. I'm totally sure the super powerful Nismo GTR behind us won't completely blow our doors off. And then again, we do have a little bit more downforce, so we might be able to go a little bit quicker on the turns. But once we get up to speed, they will be a little bit quicker. They will be definitely faster on the straights. Crash Team Racing, Crash Bandicoot. Oh yeah, I should play Crash Team Racing. Well, I have Crash Nitro Karts. I should play some of those. I haven't done a kart racer on stream in a long time. Not since Lego Racers did I do a kart racer. And Lego Racers was kind of fun. Although the green bricks are overpowered. Green bricks are so overpowered. Because you get the warp and it basically drives for you until it puts you in front, you know, further ahead on the track. I still think that the Wii version is better than the PS2 version. Yeah, I mean they're roughly on the same level in terms of like hardware power and everything. So you know you definitely get a good shot at, or, you know, yeah, it's probably like a 50-50 shot as to which one is better. At the very least, depending on how it's coded and everything and how it's been optimized. At the very least, with the Wii version, you usually get like some sort of gimmick with it, you know, being a with the motion controls or something else attached to it. Whereas with the PS2 version, it's usually just a degraded PS3 version that has the graphics toned down massively. PS2 version is missing a lot of stuff. Yeah, I kind of figured. PS2 games, like if it was made in like 2006 or earlier, like it's usually a pretty solid game. But if it's made after that, you're better off looking for the next gen version. Although I'm still gonna be playing all of the Need for Speed games, all of the PS2 Need for Speed games, including Undercover. Oh, I'm gonna hate Undercover so much. It's been forever since I played it. But I'm gonna hate playing Undercover. Because I know because I hated it when I was a kid. It's gonna be fun though. Because we get to laugh at how horrible it is. Should make for a lot of really fun like shorts and everything. Oh, the speed. But like managing Nation Kingdom games. A little bit. Like I really enjoyed playing like the older SimCity games. And I definitely enjoy my time playing Roller Coaster Tycoon. But I don't think those games are as fun, at least for me to stream, because a lot of those are more like sit and wait, get the resources, alright, big project, okay, sit and wait, alright, get more resources, big project and stuff. And in that regards, it's a lot less that's happening on stream. So I do enjoy playing those, but those are more so games that I play, you know, in private, as opposed to on stream. Like in every other version, there are 8 races in a race, 6 demonstrative races. There's only 4 races in the PS2 version. Which is weird, because if you look at like other things, like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, they had 8 driver races on the PS2 version for that. So it's weird how many other racing games just weren't able to really get more drivers, more AI drivers on the grid afterwards. It's a little bit strange. It is very strange. Also, right now, this is... Yeah, I'm literally just holding the throttle. Like, we're producing so much downforce right now that we can take these corners at like 190 miles an hour. We're basically a closed cockpit IndyCar. Not even letting off the throttle, just full speed. There's 3 point-to-point races missing in the PS2 version. Ouch. Big ouch there. You know, it's not until later when you kind of realize like the differences in some of the differences between like the different generations of consoles and everything. You're like, oh, it's the same game, right? When you're a kid, but then you play it later on and you're like, oh gosh, I missed out on a whole bunch of stuff by getting the PS2 version. This is an entirely different game. Have you heard of Romance of the Kingdom? Romance of Three Kingdoms. I have not. That sounds interesting though. What is that? Is that one like a kingdom management game? I might check that one out on like with regards to like free time and everything, or like, you know, for playing games sort of in my free time. But like I said, the management only games are very much it's a lot of sit and waiting type of deal, which isn't as fun to watch on stream. Yes, it does. Oh, cool. Sending P2P2 and P2P5 to be renamed to P2P1 and Point2Point2 respectively. Interesting. It'd have been funny if they didn't even bother to change the names on those tracks, and it was just Point2Point2, Point2Point5. Well, where's the rest? And you create like the urban Legend of Zelda of, oh, you have to cut the tires on the truck on this one island in order to unlock Point2Points 1, 3, and 4. You got to use cut on the tires on this one truck here. Totally not a reference to Finding You in the older Pokemon games. The Builder and Conquerors. Okay. Yeah, like Civilization games. Okay, cool. I haven't played a Civilization game since Civilization 2. I remember doing the cheat code for those that let you get the Shelby Cobra. The Shelby Cobra that had like the machine guns on it. How do you turn this on? So you'd have your opponent that has like, you know, regular cavalry and stuff like that. And you're just like, nah, brah. Carol Shelby, America in this house. And you just completely, you know, shred through their stuff because technology. Or like, you know, the cheat code for unlimited resources and all that stuff. Nah, that was a fun stuff to play with regards to the game, those types of games. So I'll probably have a lot more fun with like the regular base game now that I'm older. But again, that's probably gonna be more of a whatchamacallit, you know, when I'm not streaming type of deal. Anyway, let's pick our vehicle. Let's pick our vehicle for the next vehicle. 3. All right, what is 3? That is the Citroen C3. Sweet. Similar to the Age of Empires. Oh, nice, nice, nice. The license test. The pace car license test. Get it in this color. Yes. Yes, we gotta get the Citroen C3 in the French blue color. Also, some characters now only playable in sim modes, so some not playable at all. That's unfortunate. That one of my favorite things in the original Cars game was playing as the different characters. Like, sure, Lightning McQueen is the main character and everything, but like, it was fun playing like as Mater or something, or playing as like, you know, the delinquent street rods and everything like that. Like that was a lot more fun. Actually, they are the different like performances as well. Some of them, you know, are really grippy. Some of them had good acceleration stuff. and it was just really enjoyable. All right, let's get you just a little bit stiffer in the rear. I'll do one more race just to kind of test out the tune. Oh yeah, the Citroen has a whole bunch of rally pedigree and everything with Sebastian Loeb. Really cool. Really cool vehicles. But then some of the other vehicles are very much. You kind of wonder what they were smoking when they made it. Automotive Unchallenged? That's a decent one. Then some other characters are now put in a Rust Bucket race in the PS2 version, not in any other version. It's funny how that works. Of like different versions have like different amount of content in them and everything. The next time the GM send an exclusively with Forza Motorsport, they should say that the car is coming to Forza Motorsport. From the greatest I mean, right now, the big thing with both Gran Turismo and Forza need a slap in the face. They need more than just cars. They need people. They need people that are actually gonna say, no, we're not gonna buy this because it's junk. They need to actually improve the game more than anything else. They could have billions of cars. They could have every car ever created in the universe, and it would still be a crap game. Gran Turismo with the cafe books and the linear progression and the sheer lack of events for you to do. And then Forza with this leveling up system just to get upgrades for your car. So that if you want to even see if this car is good enough to be used, well, you gotta spend hours with it. Have fun, buddy. And neither of those is really. Both of them just aren't what those games should have been, and aren't what those games are. They are not. They are not. They are not. It's not Gran Turismo. It's not Forza. It's an imposter wearing a cheap skin of Gran Turismo and Forza. And also, we're getting our butt handed to us. Like Sarge, for example, in other versions, he appears in Rust Bucket Racers, but isn't playable in them. On the PS2, he is he doesn't appear, but is playable in them. Interesting. It's also weird that he doesn't appear in one of the races that he got replaced with Doc Hudson on. But he is still playable though, which is interesting because you'd think if they have the handling files coded in for him to be a playable vehicle, a playable character, then it would be easier to then have him as an AI vehicle in those games, right? But I guess not. I don't know. I am not a game dev. I am very much not a game dev, so in that regards, there's probably some super secret esoteric reason as to why they decided to put him in there as a playable character, but not in like certain races and stuff. I don't know. Could be licensing deals, it could be other weird management meddling and stuff. There's a lot of lack of clarity. That'd be really cool to kind of see what all happened with that. If he was a late game edition where they finally got him programmed, but then couldn't get him on time for the PS2 edition, so they just made him a playable vehicle. Maybe, I'm not too sure. Oh gosh, this Shelby Cobra is gonna absolutely eat our lunch on this straightaway here. Yeah, it's got the uphill section. It's got the 427. In fact, they use the Evo in the Most Wanted Challenge series. Oh yeah, the Evo in Most Wanted is a decent vehicle. So it's got the 4-wheel drive. It's got a decent amount of weight to it as well, so it can kind of push through a lot of the roadblocks and stuff. And it's got a lot of cool customization. Like a lot of the body kits for the Evo look really nice. Although for Need for Speed Most Wanted, one of my favorites are the mid-engine vehicles. So the Clio, the Lotus Elise, those are my kind of vehicles in Need for Speed Most Wanted. Super lightweight, super fragile, but they grip. and they just continue to grip. Those are the type of cars I like driving in Need for Speed Most Wanted. As well, because they're a lot less twitchy. They're a lot less twitchy in Most Wanted than they are in a lot of racing sims. So it's very fun kind of then pushing them to the limit and just, you know, outmaneuvering and out-cornering the competition. Jeez, that Supra, sorry, not the Supra, the Cobra. I don't know why I called it a Supra, but the Cobra, very quick. Something I didn't mention earlier, Racerama is customize how my queen looks. Oh yeah, you can kind of do that in the original Cars game as well, at least in the PS2 version, where you got the different paint jobs and everything. Ramon's paint shop. You could customize all the different like paint jobs of the cars, but I imagine this one has a bit more in depth of, like, you know, different rims, you know, the off-road wheels versus, you know, the regular racing wheels and everything. Maybe. I've never played Racerama, so I'm just kind of spitballing here. Oh, come on, turn in. Like, on the turns, we can gain a lot of time on the Cobra. But on this straight right here, because he has basically 150 to 200 extra horsepower compared to us, we just get absolutely destroyed. And it just goes to show you how much of this track is a power track. Yeah, the grip with the grip versus maneuverability. Yeah, no, the Evo is such a good vehicle though. You can change the rims, the hoods, the side skirts, rear bumper, and spoiler, and paint jobs as well. Now, do the body parts, do they affect performance at all, or are they just a visual thing? It'd be cool if you could kind of affect the performance of the cars with that. That'd be a really fun one. They kind of add a little bit of extra strategy to it, almost like the precursor to like the Mario Kart games with the customizable carts and everything. They don't affect performance. Ah, that's sad. But on the other hand, it'd be kind of fun. You can have basically the monster truck rims and like all the rally kits and everything on your car. But then it's just, you're just, you know, racing on dirt, on tarmac and everything, you know, on an oval. And you're blowing the doors off everybody else. It's like, well, wait a second. That'd be very funny. Alright, come on, we gotta push. We gotta push hard to try to maybe catch up to the Cobra. Cobra is absolutely pulling away though. It sounds like Pimp My Ride. Oh, we do not talk about Pimp My Ride. That game. Oh, that game is painful. That game belongs out in the Arizona desert with E.T. Not a fun game. I can't believe I played that when I was a kid. It was terrible. It was funny because of how terrible it was, but it was still terrible. Absolutely horrible. Alright. I'm probably gonna be ending the stream here. Really? Yeah, no, the Pimp My Ride was not a... Oh wait, there was a PS1 version of Pimp My Ride? I only played the PS2 version. The PS2 version of Pimp My Ride was pretty dreadful. Yeah, the PS2 version, because basically it was made by Eutechnics, which is if you're ever familiar with Eutechnics, they made a whole bunch of racing games, but they did not. It was not fun. It was not. They very rarely ever made a good racing game. Like the best racing game they made was Street Racing Syndicate, and it was basically just, we have Need for Speed Underground at home. Like, it was not a good game. Got also PS1 and PS2. It was definitely on the PS2 for me. So let me pull it up real quick. Was there a PS1 game? Nah, only the PS2 version. Yeah. Yeah, it was so dreadful. I'm just gonna show this real quick. There it is, in all its glory. Oh, pain, pain. It was dreadful. But anyway, I'm gonna be ending this stream here. Thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the stream, please leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing well in the comments below. If you did like the stream, please let me know what I'm doing poorly so I could fix that in the future. That being said, I've been Umbras, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is for you. May it be a great time. I'll see you on the next stream. Till then, take care. Bye bye.